21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
In this day and age, if you're an entrepreneur, the best thing you can do is to become an idea machine. In this world where you can execute ideas super rapidly and go to market with AI, the market disproportionately rewards people who are constantly coming up with ideas. It wasn't the case before. Essentially, the way modern day entrepreneurs win is idea and then two steps: prototype, MVP, and we can talk about the tooling on how to do it. Step two, go to market rapidly. So it's like a 1-2 punch. So you create ideas, you become an idea machine, you take an idea, you go to MVP as rapidly as you can, and then go to market as rapidly as you can. And I've seen people fall in step one. I've seen people fall in step two. I've seen people fail at the top. It's like I can try to untangle all of that. My name is Alex Mehr. I'm a tech entrepreneur. I've been building companies for more than 17 years. I have launched more than 10 products with massive product market fit. Have generated more than $1 billion of revenue across my products over the years. And I've launched, marketed, bought, and sold companies in a variety of different industries. That gives me a depth and breadth of knowledge that I hope I can share with you guys today. Let me tell you guys my experience as an entrepreneur. I've tried different methods of entrepreneurship in the past 17 years. Looking back, every time I played the role of a mad scientist, I made a lot of progress. And in my previous life, I was a scientist, so I'm very familiar with that method of, hypothesis, experimentation, and see what happens. Every time I did that, I succeeded. And every time I deviated from it because the world told me otherwise, I lost. And this is a pattern that I've seen over and over again. And I wanted to share that with you guys because, the common wisdom, if you go in Silicon Valley, a lot of VCs will tell you, is do one thing and do that thing right. That sounds about right. But I tell you, the most dangerous thoughts or lessons are those that sound right, but in reality, they don't work out. Those are the most dangerous ones because you're like, yeah, that makes sense. But the truth is the market is very dynamic and it's becoming more and more dynamic. With the AI explosion, another complication just got introduced, which is it's really fast to turn your idea into a product. So productization, which used to be a moat, is no longer a moat. Moat means it defends you against other people coming and doing what you're doing. You cannot rely on that. So it becomes a little bit of the way I describe it to people is it's a little bit of game theory. So it is, with AI, it is super easy to enter a new market and build products. And that cuts both ways. You can take advantage of it and attack new territories and continue conquering. Or if you don't, it's also as easy for others to come into your territory. So in that game theory, which is almost like a prisoner's dilemma, if you guys are familiar with game theory, you have to, the only winning strategy is to expand laterally, horizontally, and vertically. So, and make your size or reach or customer base your moat. Essentially, at this point, the gist of what I'm saying is ignoring all the theory behind it, my life experience tells me every time I was like a mad scientist and I did a lot of experiments and built a lot of products. And even after I had product market fit, I didn't stop. I won. Okay. So that's my life experience. And now with AI, that has amplified to a point where none of those traditional methods that, okay, I'm going to do one thing and I'm going to build whatever, a communication platform for enterprises, better teamwork. And I'm going to work on it for 2 years. That is, to me, a recipe for losing. Now, here's the other thing that is really interesting as I'm observing the market. Our platform attracts a lot of entrepreneurs, so I see what is happening to the entrepreneurs on the platform. This new market where people can go from ideas to products really quickly actually rewards the small guy. The examples I use is towards the end of the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was all powerful. And barbarians, they were like not as equipped, they weren't as organized. But ultimately, the barbarians, Vandals, and the Germanic tribes sacked Rome. And why that's the case? Because Rome had everything to lose, but barbarians had nothing to lose. So they just had to just remain alive to attack the next day. So they were sitting outside and was just attacking. And that's one of the things that I tell to entrepreneurs. I'm like, look, if you are the Roman Empire today, meaning you are a big tech company, be afraid, okay? A big company, you be afraid. If you're the small guy, you're the barbarian right now. It's actually the best time to be the barbarian. And barbarian means little resources, little to lose, but longevity, big reward, okay? And it means you can be creative, every day come up with new ideas, attack, the Roman Empire will fend you off. You sleep, wake up, find another angle, attack, the Roman Empire fends you off, and I love the barbarian life in this day and age. It is very rewarding. And in a way, it is sort of, I feel like it's my persona to be the mad scientist who tries new things all the time and not be afraid. I enjoy it. And I think the right now, the way, the environment is, it highly rewards creative, like I said, idea machine barbarians who actually have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. So I'm very excited for people with that mindset right now. Here's one thing I've noticed. I love history. I'm not a historian, but I love listening and studying history because you learn a lot. One of the things I noticed about the greatest conquerors of ancient times militarily, but also modern day business people who won big time. Like once you read the biographies and you read history, there are a few things that actually are almost like always present. And one of those qualities is the following. I always say the definition of IQ is the ability to hold two opposing thoughts in your head at the same time. Meaning the best, the geniuses, the winners, the conquerors, it's not like, oh, they're always methodical. It's sometimes they're creative and like take leap of faith, and sometimes they're very systematic. The both of these should exist in your brain at the same time. A lot of times people fall into this false dichotomy of, oh, do I need to be detail-oriented or visionary? Do I need to be micromanager or delegate a lot? I'm like, well, the true answer is the big ones, the conquerors. They had both of those as two opposing thoughts, strategy and counter strategy, the opposite of it. This method and the opposite of it, all of them in their head like a giant toolbox. And in different points in their career, they pulled a different tool. All of a sudden, they did something completely differently. And I talk about it in my book, The Conqueror's Code. I call it, think of it as tenacity. Maybe it's the right word. Tenacity means adjusting your strategy to the environment correctly. So it's not like, okay, which one is the right strategy? I'm like, well, in my life, I've done this and I've done that. And when I used the right strategy in the right place, it worked. And when I didn't, I immediately realized I changed the strategy, So it's that, I think, tenacity, not being stuck in one gear, I want to say is the number one trait you see. Meaning sometimes you need to be conservative. Sometimes you need to be aggressive, take risks. Sometimes you take leap of faith. Sometimes you're like, here's my framework. It's like all of these are the right answers. And we can talk about what should be applied to when, but end of the day, the greatest entrepreneurs have all these tools in their head at the same time. There's a Bruce Lee quote that everybody probably have heard: be like water, my friend. Water can crash, water can flow. So let me draw on my personal experience here a little bit. So when I started my first company, I started late in my life. I grew up wanting to be a scientist. I got my PhD. I worked for 2 years at NASA. I worked on space missions, wrote research papers and stuff like that. When I became an entrepreneur, talk about leap of faith. I essentially said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try this entrepreneurship. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But at least, again, a framework that will be very useful to the audience, it's called regret minimization. At least if I fail, I can always get another academic job. And if I fail, let's say I try for a year or two, and if I fail, I can always go back and get another job, and at least I don't regret not having tried entrepreneurship. I didn't grow up like a lot of people in a business. My family were all around about education and all that, so I wasn't around business that much. So, and I was single. I didn't have family and kids like right now. So the risk was really minimal, and I cashed out my entire 401k and paid a penalty on it and all that. And I started a company. And, looking back, I actually did the right thing because I didn't really dwell that much on the question of what I'm going to do. I was like, this is kind of my thought. At the time, this is 2007. This is before iPhone App Store was even out. The concept of apps were really new. Facebook had launched apps. Most people didn't know what apps were. A lot of people thought I meant appetizers when I said apps. And there was MySpace widgets. We even started the company as a widget company. So I was like, you know what? I think this appification, meaning turning websites into special purpose apps, it has legs. It was as generic as that. It would be kind of like today saying, you know what? AI is hot. I'm going to do something AI, which is actually, by the way, what I did in my new company. I was like, I don't know exactly what I'm going to build, but AI is here to stay and I understand AI apps. Let me just get started. To me, when I say tenacity, that's like, you got to be able to take that level of risk. Obviously, don't be stupid, but do calculation and, take risk. You just trust in yourself that, look, I have this vague place I want to go. I think it's a good place. It's kind of like Christopher Columbus, going west. It's like, I sort of have this idea. It may turn out the way it might or not. So it's like, you go west, you get on your ship, start traveling west, essentially. So when I started it, we started actually, believe it or not, my first company was an online dating app company called Zeus. We sold it for about $298 million in 2019. And we were the largest, actually top grossing app in the App Store across all categories, not just dating. In 2012 or 13, we were top 5. And and this is worldwide revenue. We were like by far the largest online dating because we move fast. But most people look at it and are like, oh, how did you come up with the idea of starting an online dating app? I'm like, I actually didn't. I started traveling west. I started a polling widget company. It was called Polection. It was a very silly name. But again, I didn't dwell on the name either. I'm like, election, polling, polection, let's just get started. Let's build something. So we built it. It didn't quite take off. It had a little bit of traction, didn't take off because apps were not a thing yet. Okay. So we were like building like apps for Facebook and then MySpace widgets. And then we did some quizzes. Then we did games, gaming apps. In the meantime, app market is growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And December 2007, after 10 experiments or something, we landed on online dating as an app. And this is Facebook app, still not iPhone. iPhone doesn't have App Store at this point. iPhone was out, but it didn't have App Store yet. So we started getting traction all of a sudden on Facebook and then other social networks. There was like Bebo.com and MySpace and stuff like that. We were getting traction. Like we were the first mover. Literally, you can think of it random walk, but I think of it as, the definition of luck is preparation meets opportunity. I'm like, preparation met opportunity. We were actually in the process of trying a whole bunch of apps, building all these apps. We were extremely good at building apps. We could make them super quickly. And we hit it, okay? And the moment that happened, we started doubling down on it, and then you get the break. It's like, even if you read my book, it's like literally all these great conquerors, they were smart, tenacious, took risk, and got lucky. So we got lucky in 2008. App Store opened its iPhone opened its App Store, and we just went boom in the App Store. And that was literally because first mover advantage. We started getting traction. I raised my venture capital in the middle of financial crisis of 2008. Literally, as the housing market was coming down, I raised my Series A from a venture capital firm. I bought some of my competitors. I consolidated power, and we became the largest online dating app for a few years. It took like 2 years for our biggest competitors that were at the time Match.com and eHarmony to even launch an app in the App Store. And that gap allowed me to dominate the market. If you want to think about that, even in hindsight, and say, okay, so what's the learning there? Forget about my exact story because it's not going to help anybody. What's the learning? What's the nugget there? The nugget there is it's a combination of exactly the elements that I said. So leap of faith to jump in the right direction, then systematic testing of the ideas, and then catching one or two lucky breaks. Okay. So it's essentially, I think that's the main thing that a lot of entrepreneurs don't think about, is that they think they have the idea figured out. They think, oh, if I build this, it will 100% succeed. I'm like, no. Name one big company that has started the way with the current product that they have. You cannot. It's like most companies start as something else and then pivot into something else. And after like a few zigzags, they ended up where it is right now. So I'm like, yeah, maybe you are some exceptional thing in the universe where you can with one shot launch a product and dominate. Maybe you're that. I'm not saying maybe that's, but that to me, that's like so unlikely. It's like winning lottery ticket. The most likely scenario, and as long as your listeners can wrap their head around this modality, and I actually repeated that with my new company so I can talk about that, but it's like, okay, I am gonna get on the damn boat and travel west. That's leap of faith. 2, here are 10 different ideas I'm gonna try, which goes back to the point that I said, become an idea machine. Try them, and trying itself is 2 steps. It's like, I'm going to build my idea super quickly. 2, I'm going to go to market with that idea super quickly so I can knock through my ideas as fast as I can, because I know my first idea, second idea, third idea, fourth idea is not going to work. And by the way, in this process of idea generation, MVP, minimum viable product building, go to market, rapid go to market, in that cycle, after you do that a few times, a few good things happen. One, you develop skill and the environment, meaning team, the things you have to launch a product, you develop that. So you can now turn the wheel faster and faster. Two, you get marketing insight from going to market with different products. You have a benchmark. For example, one method that I tell people is that, look, if you have lived a life, if you're an adult, you probably have 2,000 people in your Gmail contact list. Easily. Everybody has it. People are like, oh, really? Do I have it? I'm like, have you looked in your contact list? If you're not 10 years old, you have at least 1,000 people in your contact list. Take that list and scrub your enemies, your ex-husband, ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, anybody that you want. You probably end up with 500 to 2,000 people. Now you have a distribution, small distribution, but you have a distribution mechanism. Start sending newsletters, then build your first product, then send an invite to your first product to that email list, and see what percentage of them click, what percentage of them sign up. Now, based on that first email, you can't tell if it is a good idea or not, because it is your first cycle. But after you've done that 10 times, you have on the 10th go, you have 9 data points before that that you can that you can rely on. So it's a simple system. It's not that difficult. I think most people get in their own way that they can't implement it. But that's the sort of the idea. So one reason that I'm really excited about what I'm doing in my new company, Famous AI, and I started this, I've been working on it for 2.5 years, is that for the first time, I can provide the tooling to entrepreneurs to do exactly what I did in my previous life, simply using AI. And, our slogan in Famous AI is ideas to apps instantly, meaning you can go, back in the days when I wanted to build an app, I had a team of 4 engineers and it would take a few months to build it. Now you can, just using English, by prompting the product, you can build an MVP and ultimately polish it to a full-on app, but you can go to MVP really rapidly using Famous AI. And on top of it, I built essentially the 1-2 punch that I told you guys. Step 1, Famous AI, build MVP. Step 2, Deal AI, take the MVP and take it to the market. So it's a marketing platform with generative tools that AI can build you the marketing material, the landing pages, the funnels, the sequence for following up with your users, abandoned carts, and all of that. So I was, for the first time, when I looked at the AI movement, and the reason, really, it's important for me in this day and age. I'm older now, so I don't build products just to get traction. I build products that I kind of feel passionate about. I'm like, okay, can I wrangle AI to provide the entire path of entrepreneurship the way I have experienced it and the way I have done it? Can I wrangle AI to do that for other people at scale? And the answer was Famous AI and Deal AI. So that's why I'm really passionate about it. It took me 2.5 years, but we are at that point where we have about 30,000 paying members, and I see the products. If you go on our website, you can even see the projects that are being built. I look at these products, and it's funny because I do Zoom calls with my members, and I have them share the projects they've built on Famous AI or the landing pages, marketing materials they have built using Deal AI. And I started doing that like about 6 months ago, and the first iteration of these, these live Zoom calls where people were sharing their projects, I would look at landing pages that people are marketing products, marketing pages people were making, and they were like all scattered information. It was not a highly converting, it's like completely terrible. And I was like, oh my God, this is never going to succeed. So I did 2 things, which actually I'm glad to report At the time, I was like, is this going to work? But it has worked. And I have proof because now when I do Zoom, when people share their stuff, it is like the marketing page, landing pages look okay. I was like, I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to train AI, famous AI's backend, to not just build apps, okay? To build apps, landing pages, products that are marketing ready. Meaning if you build a product, there are a ton of software building tools out there. If you build a product on famous.ai with the first prompt, unless you tell it otherwise, it will have the hook, it will have subheadline, it will have CTA, it will have objection overcoming FAQ, it will have benefit stack, all the things, urgency, social proof, all the things that I would myself, put on a page to increase its conversion, it comes built in with AI. And we are, to the best of my knowledge, the only guys that are doing it. And that's because my company is a weird combination of tech people and marketing people. So I have both of them, and I'm just combining them. So I think that was a huge leap forward in terms of helping users, because nobody wants to just build apps or websites or whatever. What's the point? You want to build something that actually gets customers. So we solved that using technology, but on top of that, the last part, the last 5%, 1% or whatever, which is the human touch, I'm putting training together and it's working. It makes me really happy when you work on things really hard and it starts, seeing results. It makes me really happy. Now, when people share their products and projects and landing pages, whatever, with me on my Zoom calls, I look at it as like, okay, AI did 80% of it, 90% of it, 95% of it. And now by training, I've repeated like, okay, what's a good hook? How should you write your FAQ section to overcome sales objections? Because those FAQs on pages are not just random questions. They're like, the whole point is you convert a skeptical person to make a purchase or sign up for whatever. So it's like, I've taught these, and now I see people are like combination of lifting the human, training the AI, and combine them, you get magic. So that's what I like about what I do. And it's sort of feels like it's my life's calling based on the crazy life I've lived before, really. One thing I recommend people do, and I want people to really do this, is, become an idea machine. You can force yourself to become an idea machine. And to do that, you just write down, literally pen and paper, write 10 ideas. Don't have to be good. They don't have to be good. And then you can, if you want, this is free, so anybody can try, go to famous.ai, and literally you can sign up for free with your email or Gmail. Type in the first idea, copy paste it from your notebook. You don't have to put any bells and whistles on it, and just click enter, and our product is free to start. And I tell you, one of the things I see is when you have an idea and it's just a blurry vision in your brain, the different people are different, but a lot of people have difficulty becoming enthusiastic, energetic around an idea that is blurry, meaning they cannot see it. One of the things I'm really proud of with Famous AI is with that first prompt, because it is trained to create like sort of like a production marketing ready product, even though all the buttons and the stuff may not work. That is like, you can fix that later. But the first goal is to bring the vision from a simple sentence on your idea note to a product you can see. And my entire goal with my software platform on that first prompt is to generate something that you look at and I elevate your level of energy and enthusiasm about your own idea. So that's what the platform is designed to do. Think of it as a first prompt as a visualization. And it's like, come up with the idea, go to famous.ai, literally sign up for free. Just copy paste the thing in there, see what it does. It takes no time, no energy, and no money to start.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskorik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.